The tensions that have played out on the streets across the country, now front and center on the campaign trail.
Politicians make false charges and they're trying to distract from their own failed records. They have some very bad records. And these are usually the ones that cause the problems or can't solve the problems.
He decided that he was going to pit us against one another based on race.
Presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden accusing the president of dividing the country for his own political gains during an event with black community leaders in Philadelphia. President Trump, meanwhile, in Dallas, participating in a roundtable on police reform. So far, the White House has been unclear about exactly what reform or policies the president might support.
If we look at the two different ways that these candidates have dealt with the issue of police violence, we see President Trump coming out strong on the law and order side, also trying to use the military in order to enforce that. And we see Vice President Biden trying to go with more of the empathetic response.
The Trump campaign has been criticized for announcing it will resume rallies amid the ongoing pandemic. One is being planned in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Juneteenth, a day that commemorates the end of slavery in America, and in a city where black businesses were burned and black people murdered during race riots in 1921.
He's working on rectifying injustices that go back to the very beginning of this country's history. So it's a meaningful day to him, and it's a day where he wants to share some of the progress that's been made as we look forward and more that needs to be done, especially as we're looking at this police reform.
The president has seen his support drop significantly in recent polls amid ongoing protests and disapproval of his handling of race relations. And Belt says the president will likely use race on the campaign trail if he sees it as a way to motivate his supporters.
This is part of the way that he campaigns, and it's taken right out of the Southern strategy of Nixon from 1968. And this is what he knows. He knows about dividing in order to win and solidifying his base.
Belt adds that racial injustice will likely remain a major flashpoint during the 2020 election, with both parties seeing it as a way to motivate voters and activists hopeful of keeping the public's attention.
Leaders are trying to put together another march at the end of August, on August 28th, in Washington, D.C., to string this out a little bit longer to keep the public focused on this.
Willie James Inman, Newsy, Washington.